Did you ever grow up always feeling like you were competing for love? Like your relationships with family members were never truly secure? That's not by accident. It's called narcissistic triangulation, and it's designed to keep you feeling unstable and unworthy. So, I just want to briefly discuss what narcissistic triangulation is in the first place, just so that all of you are aware. So, triangulation is when a narcissistic parent or family member manipulates relationships by turning people against each other, controlling information, controlling the narrative, and or making you feel like you always have to earn their approval. This creates deep emotional wounds that last far into your adulthood and your adult life. Okay. So, part one of this series, I really want to discuss how triangulation warps your sense of reality. And we're going to go deep into the psychological and emotional impact of this. So, the way triangulation warps your sense of reality is one, you're constantly receiving contradictory messages of about who is good and who is bad. And also, the narcissist will typically rewrite history, so to speak, which is just another way to say that they gaslight you, they gaslight the narrative. Um, I'm sorry, they gaslight you to control the narrative, okay? And also, you end up feeling mentally and emotionally exhausted, and you start questioning who is real, what is real, and who you can trust. And then there's trust issues that start to develop deep within inside of you, okay? So, for example, one day your narcissistic parent praises you, they put you on a pedestal. And then all of a sudden, the next day, they act cold or they suddenly side with another sibling. All right. This creates an emotional roller coaster where you're always trying to earn love. The love is transactional, the love will always be conditional. With a narcissistic parent, you will never receive pure, unconditional love from that kind of individual because they would rather continue to spread hurt and pain than even face their own darkness, their own demons inside of them. Okay. So let's discuss the psychological impact of this. Three things go on. One, which is hypervigilance and anxiety. So, what happens from going through this abuse, the psychological impact, you will naturally 24/7 continue and constantly scan for shifts in people's energy. Okay. I know I did this and I struggled with this for so long. And this hypervigilance energy, this trauma response, forced me into my masculine energy, and I had such a hard time surrendering and receiving and being in my feminine energy because of it. And that's a huge thing that nobody talks about is the detrimental impact of what happens to the feminine energy while enduring narcissistic abuse, especially as a woman. Okay. All right. Second of all, self-doubt and guilt. So you start to wonder if you're the problem. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're not the problem. You never were the problem. The problem is the toxic individual that's trying to fuck with you psychologically and emotionally. Okay. And then also the third thing, the psychological impact is you start to develop paranoia in your relationships. So you naturally are subconsciously expecting people to turn against you due to the trauma response from enduring family triangulation from a narcissist. Okay. And I want to talk about how this creates deep emotional wounds. So the first thing, the first deep emotional wound I want to talk about is the fear of abandonment. And you learn that through enduring this triangulation, you learn that love can be taken away at any moment if someone becomes the new favorite. And then the second thing that gets developed is second wound is trust issues. So you start to struggle to believe people's true intentions and people's words. Of course, that's totally a natural response to the trauma that you endured for your whole lifetime. Why wouldn't you have trust issues dealing with a constant gaslighter and a liar, right? Like that's totally a valid response. So, and then the third thing is emotional suppression. So, expressing anger or sadness was used against you. Now, this happened to me actually many times in my lifetime. And anytime, especially if I was sad and allowed myself to cry and express my intense emotions, I was always labeled as too sensitive, right? Like, oh, you're too sensitive. Why are you so sensitive? Ah, take a joke. No, it's not a joke. It's not funny. Like, this is fucked up and it's dysfunctional and it's toxic and it's demonic. So yeah, if you've ever tried to defend yourself, you were always painted as too sensitive or too dramatic. And this teaches you to bottle up your emotions instead of expressing them. And this causes a massive problem in your physical body because the physical and the non-physical are coexisting and always working together 24/7. And so anytime that you're bottling up your emotions inside of you and you're not healthily releasing them, what ends up happening is you start developing all kinds of dis-ease, right? Like I'm not a doctor, but I will say from my past experiences with bottling up my emotions, it has caused me many physical issues, and I'm not going to go into depth with them. But just know that if you harbor lots of anger, it can lead to major liver problems. You hold emotions up in your face. So if you're constantly having sinus issues, you're holding a lot of emotional energy up here, especially in your sphenoid sinuses and all right here. And I always like to tap up here. And I always do this Ho'oponopono prayer to release trapped emotions in my face. I will say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And I can feel the energy releasing out my face. So let's go into the long-term effects in adulthood from going through this. So what ends up happening is you naturally subconsciously attract toxic relationships where you feel the need to subconsciously prove your worth. Fuck that. Um, I want to say that you guys are always worthy. You've always been worthy. You are inherently worthy. And you don't need to prove your worth to anybody. No, 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 no. Nobody gets that amount of power over you. Take your power back. Reclaim your sense of autonomy, okay? Your sense of self-worth. Like, nobody else gets to dictate that with a fucking like lever, okay? Like, nobody has that power over you. Stop allowing that. Okay, the second thing is people pleasing and over explaining. I struggle with this so hard because I'm a Sagittarius, and so I naturally want to just be blunt and tell things like it is in a very pure way, but a very honest way, okay? And that's very triggering to grow that energy in a narcissistic family system is super triggering, okay? And so what happened was in my early adult life, I always felt the need to like overshare and over explain myself because of how much my voice was naturally suppressed, like how much I was abused and suppressed. And so when I started coming out of that and I started healing myself, I just wanted to share and like say everything and express myself emotionally, like finally, freely, because it's like the first time in my whole life I've been able to do that, you know? And people pleasing was a trauma response. It was a way to survive my childhood because had I not people pleased, I probably wouldn't have had shelter, food, and water and other things that I barely had to survive with. So, okay, the third long-term effect that follows you into adulthood is struggling with self-trust. Oh my God. I recently healed this a couple months ago which was this energy of constantly betraying myself. I was betraying myself due to the narcissistic abuse that I went through because I was constantly gaslit, because I was constantly manipulated. I started to doubt my own intuition. I started to betray my own intuition inside of me because I was listening and relying on that external validation from the toxic narcissist outside of me. And so naturally, what you're going to do is you're going to naturally betray yourself. You're going to naturally betray your intuition, and then you're going to internally emit that out into your external reality, and then you're going to attract people around you, whether at your job or in your day-to-day life, and they're just going to be like, I don't know what it is about her, but I don't trust her. Well, that's accurate because you're not trusting yourself because it's a trauma response from enduring that narcissistic abuse. Okay, it's not that you're untrustworthy, it's just that you, as a trauma response, are emitting that out like a receiver or like a projector, and you're saying, hey, I don't trust myself because I went through narcissistic abuse and my intuition is invalid and I'm supposed to rely on this person for validation. That's what you're emitting out, okay? Um, and so yeah, after years of gaslighting, making decisions can feel very overwhelming. So trying to make a decision based off your intuition, oh my God, that's like nails on a chalkboard, right? Because you're just like, how can I trust myself? I don't know if I trust myself. I actually don't trust myself, right? And so, yeah, even in friendships, you might fear being left out or suddenly replaced because that's literally what your childhood trained you to expect. Okay. So, actually, I think I made a TikTok video on how I healed from that, how I switched out of that old dynamic of learning to trust myself. So, yeah, go stalk me on TikTok. I think my TikTok handle is like Grayson Con. I don't know. You'll find me on there if you're interested in seeing that video. So, Section 4, Part 4, how to heal and break free from narcissistic or the psychological and emotional impact of narcissistic family triangulation. Step one is naming the pattern. Understand that it was not your fault and it never was your fault. Okay, so stop blaming yourself. You might not be consciously blaming yourself, but somewhere subconsciously you are. Somewhere subconsciously, your inner child, your inner teenager, or even your inner infant self is saying, oh my God, it's my fault. It's my fault. Okay, it's not your fault. So, a good energy healing, spiritual hygiene practice for you is looking in the mirror, doing mirror work. Like you can lay in your bed and hold like a little handheld mirror, or sit at your vanity, or stand in your bathroom somewhere with a mirror and just look into your eyes, like literally look into your own soul and tell yourself, hey, I trust you. I'm learning to trust you more and more and more. I'm learning to love you more and more and more. Okay. And say it wasn't your fault and it never was your fault. And this might get very emotional for some of you, maybe all of you, because for me, I know that sometimes when I do mirror work and I talk to my soul, I start crying and sobbing because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I've never consciously chosen to love myself this much before. And it can be very emotionally overwhelming. So moving forward, step 2, stop seeking validation from the narcissist. Okay, their approval is like a moving target. All right, it's never like stagnant. It's always going here, 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 here. All right, you should never rely on external validation in the first place. Always rely on your own validation and your own self. Okay, because you know you better than anybody on this planet, and your intuition is like the best thing that you can trust. All right, it is like infinite, ancient, highest vibrational wisdom, and that will never do you wrong. So, okay, step 3. Before I get into step 3, if you guys are resonating super hard with this video, please like it. Please share it with somebody else that you know is going through narcissistic family triangulation and you desire for your friend or sibling to heal from the psychological and emotional impact of this. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this as well. And yeah, comment below. Start engaging with me and let me know what you think. Okay, step 3 is rebuild your intuition. Okay, so start journaling, start writing down on pieces of paper. Go get yourself a journal, either at Target, I don't know, Amazon, wherever, or Crystal Shop. I like to get mine from Crystal Shops personally because they get all like fun designs. And I don't know where I put my other journal, but it's okay. This message actually came through from either my spirit guides or my higher self, which was decreasing my sugar intake. The amount of sugar that you eat affects your direct connection with your higher self and your spiritual guidance and your intuition. And so the less sugar that you eat, the better. And the more clear your messages internally will get, like you will just naturally hear things. And I know that's so like easy to say. And years ago when I couldn't even hear my own intuitive messages, I was like, how am I supposed to know it's me, right? Like, how am I supposed to know that's not just coming from any energy or any entity? It's like, you will just like know, like, you will like feel it in your nervous system, like in your gut, like, you will feel it. Like, that's how you will know. All right. Like, it won't just be some fleeting thought. Like, you'll just like feel it, like in your feminine energy. Okay. Right, because the masculine is very logical and the feminine is like feel it, you're very heart-centered. So yeah, rebuilding your intuition, heal your nervous system. I have several videos on my YouTube channel from months ago where I show you guys how to perform energy healing on yourself to start healing your nervous system from fight or flight, from freeze, from fawning response. So go check those out. Those are free of charge. They're free for you to use, to learn from, to heal from. Okay, so take full advantage of that. Another thing is playing intuitive games. This one's my favorite. You can take literally a normal piece of paper and write down different things and play an intuition game. And for example, you could say something like, should I move out of my current city that I'm living in? And just write like 3 yeses, 3 nos, fold them up, mix them up in a bowl, and then pull like 2 to 3 times and start trusting your intuition. And before you open the paper, guess, like feel like, is this a yes? Does this feel like a yes? Or does this feel like a no? And you will start learning your own discernment within your own energy and how you read yeses and how you read nos. So that's a pretty good one. And this will start helping you to reconnect with what you feel so that nobody can externally gaslight you and fuck with you anymore. And then the last fourth step of how to heal from this and break free totally is cut off the cycle. Go no contact. Keeping relationships, with these narcissistic individuals, it's just only going to cause you disease and disturb your peace, and you're never going to have your ultimate dream reality keeping that energy around you. So establish firm emotional boundaries. What are emotional boundaries? This could look like saying no without guilt, clearly communicating your needs. All right, what else did I write down? Oh, refusing to engage in toxic behavior. I'm telling you guys, remove yourself, and then your absence will be felt. Okay. Stop allowing everyone to have access to you. Not everyone deserves to have super close access to your energy. It's very precious. It's very rare. All right. It's very special. So treat it as such. Okay. And take responsibility for your feelings. And I want to say what I mean by this is typically there's a lot of narcissistic parents, I went through this, that get their children, especially one specific child, involved in emotional enmeshment, which basically means that they make their child do all of their emotional labor for them, where they don't want to feel their own emotions, so they make their kid do it. They make their kid feel what they're feeling, deal with their problems, and want them to fix it. All right, we're not doing that. We're going to take responsibility with our emotions and our feelings, and we're just going to push it back, send back their shit. That's not ours. And you can literally say that. I send their shit back to them. This is not for me to feel. This is not for me to fix. That is a them problem. Like that is a major them problem. I'm focusing on myself. I'm worried about myself. I'm worried about Grayson and her health, prioritizing her first, prioritizing her emotional needs first. Okay. Yeah, you're not obligated nor entitled to do emotional labor for anybody, even if it's your mom or your dad. What the fuck? No, fuck that. They're grown ass adults, and at their big ass age, they have a brain, they need to use it, and they need to go to Barnes and Noble and either invest in self-help books, go to therapy or something. Like that is a major them problem. And if they can't figure that out in their 30s, 40s, 50s, like too bad, so sad, like big yikes. Okay. That's crazy. Anyways, so I have refusing to take on others' emotional burdens. Yeah. Okay. And last but not least, I wanted to end off this video with something optional for all of you. So stay if you feel called to, or, peace out, humbly bow out if that resonates. But I just want to give you all a sample of one of the things that I do in one of my sacred alchemy sessions, which is rewiring your brain, your programming, and your nervous system to heal, release, let go, and shift into higher timelines of peace, joy, and abundance. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and set the intention that, this reaches the souls it's supposed to reach, and may this mantra rewire those souls' brains and nervous systems if it serves their highest contracts and the highest good of all involved. Okay. Second thing is you can repeat this out loud with me if you want to say this mantra over your own energy. Or I can hold that space and do it for you if you don't feel like talking right now or whatever. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to say it slow for all of you. I am worthy of love that is stable, honest, and safe. I do not need to compete for love, period. All right. So with that being said, I do want to mention this really quick, my final notes. If you've ever felt trapped in toxic cycles and if you ever wonder if there's a way out, then this book was written for you, okay? This book is not just words. It's a mirror, it's a guide, it's an activation for your next chapter, okay? This is literally like a lifetime of craziness, chaos, and how I alchemized it, and I'm at where I'm at today. And so if you've been searching for clarity, excuse me, this book is a message from the universe, and trust that it's meant for you, okay? And then also starting next month, um, for those who are truly ready to break free from deeply rooted patterns, really heal from severe narcissistic abuse and even sexual trauma as well, especially from childhood, then I am holding space for 6 and only 6 powerful souls who are ready for deep transformation. So if that's you, trust your intuition and book now. I will post the link in the description box. And if you've been feeling stuck, like you know there's more, but you can't access it yet, then my sessions will be your activation. Okay. So they're not for everybody, and I'm just throwing that out there. So guys, if this video resonated with you, comment below. What's one way triangulation has affected you? And yeah, let's break these patterns together. Let's end the cycle for good. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye for now.